Jeff Koinange, and this is Jeff Koinange live at the Villa Rosa Kempinski. And if it's Wednesday, you know it's all about Politics 101. Tonight, the second in a series of debates that we have put together for the folks who are running for governor of Nairobi. I must add at this point, I had invited all the candidates running for Nairobi governor. Only 2 showed up out of a dozen. That's okay. Maybe they're afraid of one of my guests. Maybe they just don't want to debate right now. Either way, the show must go on. So, on the far end, you know him, former personal assistant to the, what was it? What were you?
A senior advisor to the Prime Minister.
Former senior advisor to the former Prime Minister.
Yes.
He's a solicitor and a
Unless
barrister.
you want to be a cartel.
Author of 2 books, Peeling Back the Mask and Kidneys for the King. Practices law in Canada right now, but comes to Kenya every now and then. And when he does show up, you know he's got to come on the bench. He's been saying to no end that he's running for governor of Nairobi. And he has a support base, especially on social media. Will it translate on the ground? The only person who's dared to meet him face to face, Mama Supu, the MD of Adopt a Light. She ran for a couple of offices in Nairobi unsuccessfully, but she wants to run for governor as opposed to Nairobi Women's Rep, Benjin Dolo. She wants to be governor of Nairobi County. Let me ask you a question. By the end of the show, we're going to ask, who do you think will make the best governor of Nairobi? Tell us your choice as we go on. Twitter handles are at Miguna Miguna, at Esther Passaris, at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag we're using tonight, Race for Nairobi. Although some of you have started your own hashtag, kind of amusing, kind of familiar. Miguna, drain the swamp. How original. Sit back. It is time. Good to see you, folks. Look, we're going to conduct this. For the first time, I brought notes, and I want to do this as with as much civility as we can, okay? So first, I'm going to start. I'm going to read my notes for the first time ever. I'm going to give you both 2 minutes each to give your vision to the people of Nairobi about what you got. What is your vision in general? 2 minutes each. And I will start with you, Miguna Miguna. That is your camera, your vision.
Good evening, Nairobi. And thank you very much, Jeff. Welcome, Passaris, to the show. I'm going to address you as Nairobians, the patriotic, majestic people of Nairobi. As I said previously, we have reached a critical point where the people of this city will have to make a choice between the rapacious cartels that we have had since 1963, that is 55 years ago. Research after research have established that the most tractable problem facing this city is corruption. Corruption is the most intractable problem that has drained hundreds of billions of shillings that could have been used to create jobs. Corruption has drained billions of shillings that could have been used to create infrastructure, to grow the economy, and make Nairobi prosperous. Corruption has denied Nairobi the money for not just housing and infrastructural development, but also a clean environment. Garbage is everywhere. And so I sit here before Nairobi today to announce that the first problem I am going to resolve and solve is eradicate corruption at City Hall. The second problem I'm going to have to deal with is the issue of unemployment, which is currently afflicting more than 55% of the youth, women, and virtually everyone. And to do that, I have to unveil a very dramatic infrastructural development. I'm going to unveil a very progressive housing program that is going to accommodate the homeless, the marginalized, the impoverished, the unemployed. Then we are going to build roads that meet international standards, that are going to move the traffic. Then we will deal with the light rail, which is missing in this city.
Okay, 2 minutes are up,
So,
Miguna.
but let me just conclude. So, in a nutshell, you have on my side a leader who has a vision with integrity, and on the other side, the usual cartels. You will have a time to make a choice. Make the right decision.
Okay, Esther Passaris, same camera.
Good evening, Nairobi. I've been a resident of this city for over 25 years. I have actually worked with the Nairobi County and provided a service that was missing, which was lighting. And today, you can see that the government has taken over the lighting initiative and most streets and informal settlements are lit. There are a lot of issues in this city, and I don't want to say that I promise you everything, because at the end of the day, there's budgets and there's limits. But the one thing that we have to do is provide good, efficient service. As a woman, I would like to ensure that water is in the houses and it's clean and it's safe. I would like to ensure that garbage is collected and garbage is recycled. Jobs are created through infrastructure development, housing. I feel terrible every time I hear of an incest in a slum home, or when I see children going to schools that are made out of mabati in this capital city. We should dedicate some funds to ensure that we develop Nairobi, but across the board, not just for the middle class, where you put roads. I look at the roads. I was on Jogo Road yesterday, and also on Outer Ring Road, and I noticed that we're putting up these big roads. And right now, my main concern is we don't have enough pavements for people to walk. We need markets for people to trade. We have to deal with the hawkers. For me, the Bill of Rights is going to guide me. I do not feel that we should kick hawkers out of the city just because, unless we have an alternative for them. At the end of the day, they have a right to trade. They have a right to earn a livelihood. And just pushing them away and saying we cannot have them is wrong. I want an inclusive city where everybody counts. The Bill of Rights provides that right for every citizen in this country.
2 minutes.
Thank you.
Done?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this part I like best. Miguna, what question would you want to pose to Esther Passaris? Anything. Anything. This is your time to attack her, question her. One thing you'd want to tell her right now to her face.
No, I believe this was a debate for all candidates. And,
but they're not here.
I do not want to attack. No, I'm going to talk about them whether they are here or not. Nobody told them not to come here. So I will address them whether they are here or not.
But for
we
now,
have a sitting governor.
We'll get to them.
No.
Right,
I'm not going to attack.
Can I do it?
I'm not going to attack Esther Passaris. I did not come here to attack her. I did not come here to attack her, and I have no interest in attacking her. So you cannot tell me in a debate, I want you to attack Esther Passaris. I will not do it.
No, he asked you to ask me a question.
So, I could ask you a question.
Yes.
You can't force me to ask you a question.
No. But he's
I
the
want
host.
to deal with issues.
Go on.
I want to deal with issues.
I'm going to get to the issues in a bit.
I am going to deal with the issues.
Okay, if
Yes.
Kidero was here, what would you ask him?
Kidero, I would ask many questions, but let me say the three that I would ask him. Kidero was elected in 2013 after he had bankrupted Mumias. And of course, it came out after the elections. And he has spent 4 years doing absolutely nothing, but stealing money, public money, left, right, and center with his cartels. I would ask him, Kidero, why would you want Nairobi residents to be burdened with your incompetence and your looting spree for another 5 years? That's one question I would ask him.
All right.
The second question I would ask him is, Kidero, I heard you today looking for 65 or 69 billion that you claim is owed to the people of Nairobi by the national government. And you'd like the national government to release that, claiming that once that is released, and Esther was supporting Kidero, once that one is released, they would create jobs and infrastructure. Well, under his watch, the Auditor General has documented more than 100 billion lost in land and in actual money. Why would you want the national government to release 69 when you can't account for 100 billion which has been lost under your watch?
By the way, Governor, if you're listening, or Walter Mungare, if you're listening and you want to respond, please do that on our Twitter handles.
They should not be able to respond from outside. If they wanted, they should be here. My friend, you can't give people who decide not to come for debates to be responding from outside. Let them come.
Listen.
No, that's not fair.
If they can't make it here on their own because they're scared of you...
Well, if they're scared of me, they should get out of the way. They should surrender so that I can go and take over City Hall. You can see my boys, they are ready. We are going.
Going where?
So we are going to take over City Hall. So if he has already surrendered, I'm ready to go.
Esther, question for Miguna?
Okay, I mean, I want to read something that I picked that Miguna had written in his book. I, please save me from Kibaki. Please don't let me go back to that man. I don't want to go back to Kibaki. Please save me from Kibaki. Raila broke down, cried torrents of tears flowing freely down his cheeks. He was shaking uncontrollably, and it was about 3:30 p.m. on April 6, 2008. Everyone in the room was stunned. Now, I just want to ask you something. Raila, if it wasn't for Raila giving you a job, you would never have been known. The name Miguna Miguna would not even exist. So for me, I want to know, if you have no loyalty for something that was said in private, all right, where you actually were an employee of this person, how can you actually betray somebody? And if you have no loyalty for somebody who basically gave you status, all right, which you never would have had without him, I want to know, how can you actually be trusted by Nairobi residents?
Answer the question.
Has she finished her question?
Yes, yes.
First of all, Jeff, this was 1986, November 13th, 1987. 1987. That is November 1987. All right?
Yeah, is that you in the picture?
That is me in the picture at the University of Nairobi. I was a student leader, and I was in the headline in 1987 when Raila was in detention. My friend here, who is my age, was nowhere. What was she doing in 1987? I was fighting for multi-party democracy in 1987. She's my age. She was hiding under the bed. She was nowhere to be seen. I never heard of her. We fought during the second liberation. With Raila Odinga in detention, Miguna outside. Miguna was arrested and put in detention. Miguna came out, was released. Miguna was expelled from the University of Nairobi. Miguna went into exile. Did he stop? He continued fighting for multi-party democracy by leading the Committee of Democracy in Kenya. Who were one of my members? Willy Mutunga. Miguna was a teenager at that time, leading veterans. So when somebody says, Raila made me, nobody would have known me. Just because you are ignorant and you can't read and you have not done your research, you can't blame Miguna for your ignorance. Number two, to appoint somebody as senior advisor and your chief strategist means the guy is knowledgeable, the guy is competent. Out of 40 million Kenyans, whom did he choose? He could have chosen Esther Passaris. Did he choose Esther Passaris as his advisor? He chose Miguna.
Okay.
Miguna worked as his advisor. Thirdly, lastly, so I reported what happened at the Pentagon. What kind of a betrayal is that? I told the truth. Let Esther say it did not happen. She was not there. She can't speak about things she did not know. She emerged from nowhere that is Mama Supu. She's selling beauty. She thinks beauty gives you credibility and integrity to go for leadership. Esther Passaris is nothing but a flower girl.
Esther, I'm going to give you 1 minute to respond real quick.
Yeah.
He says you're a flower girl.
Let me tell you something. I lit Nairobi. On his website, I'm told he says he's going to be the light of Nairobi. As far as I'm concerned, Nairobi is already lit. The guy is absolutely ignorant. He comes here and he thinks he can bash everybody. By the way, have you received an email from my lawyer? Have you received an email from my lawyer?
Why don't you ask your lawyer?
Okay, here is the letter.
Why don't you?
Here is the letter served I'm suing him for defamation.
For what?
For what? Because he calls me cartels. You know,
Yes, you're a cartel.
I just hope he has enough
Esther,
money.
you're a cartel. You brought it.
I just hope he has enough money to pay everybody that will sue him.
Are you suing
or he
me?
has good
Are you
enough
suing
furniture
Miguna?
that we can auction him.
Are you suing
yes,
him?
Definitely.
For what? What did he say?
Because let me tell you something. He put an advert on the Twitter handle saying that we are all cartels. The thieves, he's going to deal with the thieves, he's going to deal with the drug dealers. I mean, you don't need to stand out by bashing people. If you have a vision for Nairobi, speak about it. Why do you need to step on everybody else? I mean, at the end of the day, you're in this city, and the governor of this city is Kidero. And if you have issues with him, then let that be the side. Focus on the issues. I mean, let me tell you something.
Is that a question?
Hold on.
I thought this was a
excuse me.
session for
Let me
questions.
tell you-
No, she's making a statement.
No, is that a question?
She's making a statement.
I don't have a
No, no.
question for you.
You said
And I hope you take this because it's served.
No.
Yes, it
I
is
don't
served.
know. I don't care about that.
You should.
Because you lose all your cases. So what if
Let me
you
tell
sue
you
me?
something.
You can sue me 10 times, it doesn't matter.
This is a
But
man-
can I respond?
Yes.
Let me respond. Esther Passaris,
He knows me so well.
on the 26th of October, 2005,
Oh, wow.
you were named in Parliament as having obtained a contract to adopt a light and procedurally. Esther Passaris, because you asked for it, so you are very corrupt. In fact, your files, I've done research on you, your files in City Hall stink to the high heavens. Number two, you asked for it.
You know what?
Let
It's
me
fantastic.
respond.
It's fantastic.
You
He's just
talk.
building
Let
my
me
case.
respond.
He's building my case.
Let me respond, Esther Passaris,
Continue.
because you asked for it
Continue.
on live TV.
I need it. I need it.
Yes, you need
Yes,
it,
exactly.
and you will get
Continue.
it. You
Continue
will get
defaming
it.
me.
You will get it, Esther
defaming me.
Passaris. Esther Passaris on the 27th of December,
How do you know all these dates?
2007, because I was there with her, at the Pentagon House, in the impending days when Raila's victory was almost certain, you announced to the gathering that after Raila is inaugurated, you will take 30 days sex holiday in Seychelles.
Sex
A
holiday.
woman
Sex
who
holiday.
has absolutely no integrity, a socialite bimbo whose only claim to fame is because she is looking for billionaire sponsors. Yesterday it was Mwangi of Equity. The other day it was Gichuru of the former electricity Kenya Power, crying for a man to marry you because you believe that the man promised to marry you, and for that reason you took a man to court. Esther Passaris, you can sue me 1,000,000 times and it would not bother me.
On that note, Esther, I'm going to have you respond after the break. We're going to have to take a break. And that's a disclaimer, by the way. The views are those of the guests, not mine, not KTN, nobody. Goodness gracious me. Miguna.
A revolutionary, you don't play with revolutionaries.
Clearly.
If you try,
Keep tweeting. Keep tweeting. At Miguna, at Esther Passaris, at Koinange Jeff, the hashtag Race for Nairobi, or, if you prefer, Miguna, drain the swamp.
and it will be drained dry, and then cleaned, and then made productive.
Are you our Trump?
Well, I'm better than Trump. Trump is my student.
Jeff Koinange, live at the Villa Rosa
He's a
Kempinski.
certified revolutionary.
Takes a break. We'll
And I
be
don't
back.
take bites from mosquitoes like Esther.
We'll be back in a moment. Break.